Hello, fabulous superstar Virgo. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of September 2025. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. As soon as we begin this month, right out of the gate, Saturn retrogrades back into your opposite sign. And so it was in the second part of May, just earlier this year, that Saturn moving forward stepped out of this part of the sky into a more intense, transformative part of the sky for you. And now here we are with Saturn retrograding back into your opposite sign. It really is about wrapping up loose ends. And in February, of 2026 is when Saturn will leave your opposite sign, not to return for well over 2 decades. You've been experiencing this energy in one way or another since March of 2023. So having Saturn now retrograde back very quickly is likely going to put your focus on another person, a one-on-one alliance in your life. It could be romantic, though I'll talk about that in just a little bit, but business partnerships as well are highlighted with this energy. Being honest with yourself about who other people are, what it is that they are showing you about who they are, being realistic about what you can expect reasonably so, what might not be reasonable to expect from others, where it is that you're in it for shared prosperity or not. Where is it that by having one on one exchanges with other people, there are healthy ways in which you are strengthened and feel more stable? But then there are also ways in which we might exchange or share with others that leave us feeling exposed, but not in a way that's necessarily healing. These have been big lessons for you. And it really comes down to with Saturn being honest with yourself and asking yourself, if I can keep doing this for the rest of my life. Can you keep this person in your life for the rest of your life? Can you keep this alliance going for the rest of your life, this business partnership going or not? You're about to answer that question with greater depth and nuance starting now and in the months ahead. And once we move past February of next year, that is when you will have learned some of the most important lessons that you need to in terms of your understanding of your alliances. And you'll be ready that much more to dive into those deeper lessons of Saturn in a brand new part of your sky. And that will be a transit that takes you right to April of 2028. I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way. It is going to be on the 6th of the month that Uranus goes retro. Uranus stepped into the top of your sky in July, and now Uranus standing still in the sky at the height of its power and then going retro. This is a surprise a minute. This is a realization. See, the thing is, if it was station direct, I would say, yeah, there's a surprise a minute and then you're moving forward. But because this is a station retro, it says that there's the surprise, but then it takes you inward. It leads you to a place of being more honest with yourself about what's going on within you, who you really are, what you're really wanting. That becomes so much more an important part of the focus. And so be open to possibility, inspiration. That's really what you can do with Uranus. But given that Uranus is stationary, going retro at the top of your sky, having to do with career, social standing, life purpose, and your understanding of a higher, more loving vision for your life, well, it's very possible here. A couple of things. One is a boss or person in position of authority behaves in ways that are very erratic. It might be that very quickly you need to step up and be the leader, be a boss in some way, whether temporarily or more permanently. It is possible here that you are seeing your career trajectory differently in some way. This energy can be one of extremes. It can be very all or nothing, but the great thing is it does get you honest about your goals and what it is that you're really going for. It is also possible with this that you might get some publicity. You might get some larger attention that maybe you didn't expect. And then again, that is an energy of extremes. It can be for better or worse. Sometimes we like how people are seeing us. Sometimes maybe not so much. And then other times still, we think any attention is good. But that isn't necessarily always the case. So sit with whatever it is that you feel if you find yourself very quickly getting a lot of attention and decide what that might mean for you going forward from here. On the 7th of the month, we are going to have a lunar eclipse. Yes, we're going to have a lunar eclipse happen in your opposite sign. This is a huge moment. I spoke about this series of eclipses that we're going to have this month in the year ahead horoscope. That's how significant I feel it is, especially for you, because it is going to be on the 7th that we get that lunar eclipse in your opposite sign. And then 2 weeks later, a solar eclipse in your sign. So let's talk about these energies here. The lunar eclipse on the 7th, that in your opposite sign speaks to partnerships of all kinds. This is exactly where Saturn retrograded back into at the beginning of the month. And a lunar eclipse brings that much more emotional insight and intensity. And the way that lunar eclipses work is it's like something might have been there all along. It might have been staring us in the face all along, but it's almost like we have to look away and look back to actually see it. And so it may feel like seemingly out of nowhere, there is that realization. But this is a lunar eclipse that is also speaking in supreme harmony with Jupiter. A sense of some expansion, some hope that can be very elating, and that very well could show up for you here because eclipses like to work with surprise factors, which is the case as well. And we do have Jupiter right now moving through a friendship part of your sky. So it might very well be as a result of a friend or a participation within a group, or it might be in a situation where you're gathering with others that you're able to make these key connections with another person that ends up being beneficial to you in all kinds of ways, professionally, personally, or otherwise. Then we move forward. We get that solar eclipse in your sign. If ever there was a sign that said brand new beginning, right, with a big circle and a star on it, this really would be it. If you remember last month, I was telling you that we had a new moon in the second part of the month that happened at 0 degrees of Virgo, the very, very beginning of your sign. And I remember telling you at that time, this is an energy that is about a beginning times 10, times 20, right? It is a very beginning. It is a seed moment. But it is now with this eclipse that you just might see what was taking place for you right around the 24th of last month. You might see it differently in some way, in ways that might take you by surprise. Whereas that new moon had some challenging alignments taking place to it, it is going to be this eclipse that has these beautiful, powerful connections happening in the sky. For those astro nerds out there, let me say and tell you what I'm seeing here, which is it is going to be this solar eclipse that is part of a kite formation, which is a major configuration in the sky. And the entire kite is pointing right at this solar eclipse. However, it isn't a true kite, meaning that it lines up in terms of degrees, but not in terms of signs. Okay, so that's all the nerdy stuff to say. Yes, we have some very positive energy here. The most precise connection that this eclipse is making is going to be with Saturn and Saturn in your opposite sign at that. And so, what's happening with another, and you needing to be honest with yourself about what's happening with another, is a key part of what informs you to become something more, become something different, to be honest with yourself, to be true to yourself, to feel that sense of a beginning. And that beginning can take on all kinds of forms. And again, being honest about a one on one alliance might be professional, it might be more correlated around the business alliances, professional connections you already have, or because it's a new moon, there might be an element here of new people that you're connecting with. But all of this tends to stir very strongly at this time. One thing is for sure, though, you might be feeling downright antsy. You're so ready for a new beginning. And this is where, even if what's happening in some way harkens to what was taking place a month earlier, there's enough here that says new beginnings that fuel enthusiasm, even with the stress or perhaps external pressure. Where it comes to matters of love, I'm going back to that lunar eclipse. I'm going back to Saturn in your opposite sign, because these are very significant energies that speak to the context of love. Saturn is about getting honest with yourself. about where you are in love and how you feel about it, the lunar eclipse makes developments take place. Where it is that you're in a good relationship or there's, positive connections there, they grow stronger, more fruitful. Where it is that that isn't the case, this allows change and transformation to happen from a place of faith within you. With Saturn in your opposite sign, you are encouraged to learn some very valuable lessons and be honest with yourself about what other people are showing you. For those of you open to meeting someone new, if ever there was a sign that said you are very likely to meet somebody or have some significant interaction with another, it certainly would be this eclipse energy. But with Saturn and wherever Saturn goes, there's a feeling like there's more work to do. And you might feel like there's more work to do within, but you know what? It's a lot. Well, it might have you feeling vulnerable, but it's actually a lot more effective if you're doing that work in the context of actually meeting new people and actually having those in person exchanges. Regardless, though, this is an energy of blessing. So you do feel blessed as a result of the key experiences you have now that tell you something about where you are in love and how you feel about it. For those of you just starting to date someone, this is about being honest with yourself from a place of hope, yes, from a place of positivity. It's not that we have to make anybody bad or anybody good, but just being honest with yourself about what this person is showing you and how that fuels a sense of either beginnings or beginnings that take you a whole other way, right? Sometimes the great blessing is bringing things to a close before they really drag out without any negative emotion or whatever. That can be one way this energy plays out. But another way is that it really feels like you're moving towards partnership with this person, a deep connection with this person in a way meaningful to you. And so, if anything, this lunar eclipse will get you honest, will have you seeing this person differently in some way. There is hope and love, which is a lovely thing. At the same time, though, strive to stay honest with yourself. If it is that something further is meant to develop with this person, it'll be obvious to you at this eclipse energy. But if that isn't the case, well, it just might be the case that you're able to see, okay, this is not a direction I'm going in. And very quickly, there are other options there. And for those of you in an established bond, the overwhelming majority are going to find this a time of deepening connection with your partner, positive energy coming in, positive developments that seemingly might come out of nowhere, at very least an important moment playing out here. There is going to be that small percent. If you felt for a while that you might not be in the right relationship for you, this is where you're able to see it differently with eyes of healing, eyes of hope, thanks to that Jupiter. I like to say, pace yourself and be yourself. You want to remember that at this time, but it is a time that also has its hope within it. You're seeing the truth about your alliance, about your partnership, and it is a game changer. And if that game changing energy means deeper commitment, that's what it'll take you. But if that deeper energy means that you know that this is not something you want to navigate forward with, it becomes clear to you that as part of your pathway forward, you're meant to go in another direction, you will with hope in your heart. What I love about this month for you, there's so much here. It's a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. I'm going to say, well, let's say I do think that eclipse in your sign is a really big deal. I mean, that is a major energy playing out for the Virgos out there, and it very quickly puts the attention on you, who you know yourself to be, what matters to you most, what matters to you first. Your identity just might go through a shift at this time. Now, there are some examples I like to use. If you've been watching me for a while, you might have heard some of these examples over the years because I have seen people go through remarkable, dramatic changes under the light of an eclipse in their sign. And given the power of this solar eclipse in your sign, I would not be surprised if that was the case for you. And so I have seen lots and lots of people change relationship status when they get an eclipse in their sign. A lot of people I've seen have stopped using drugs. have quit a really bad habit that defined them. A lot of people have also transformed their circumstances rooted in transforming their identity. So, for example, I've seen a couple of people when they have an eclipse in their sign, they go vegetarian or they go vegan. I remember one person who was vegan for 10 years. They had an eclipse in their sign and they started eating meat again. And I say all this because it isn't about the eating habits, right? It isn't about, oh, what this other person is doing that maybe you're aligned with or not. It's about your truth. It's about your identity. It's about how you see yourself. And that's what's up for reinterpretation and a whole new light in ways that just might surprise you, but ultimately put you on a path that feels very powerful. It may be truths that come up in ways that don't feel convenient necessarily. I mean, Saturn is opposite this eclipse. But considering all the positive energies pointing towards this energy, it tells me that you're going through changes, you're starting fresh, and whom it is that you start moving towards, whom it is that you know yourself to be, that you want to embody that much more, well, it seems like that is a version of you that you like very much. Well, thank you so much for watching. Consultations with me and Andy are available over on my website, nadiyashah.com/consultations. And also check out the Superstar space. Lots of bonuses there for members. And that is at thefutureismagical.com. All those links are below. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.